And welcome back, ESPN 1240 and online at WBBW.com. Ryan and Ellis here today. Christian out, injured, undisclosed injury as we like to put it here. And right now, like we said, we would like to bring on Greg from the 360 Sports Network, talk some fantasy football. Greg, how are you?
Oh, real good. It's a pleasure to be with you guys again on a Thursday.
Oh, great having you. How'd you do last week?
Hey, I actually won.
I went 2-0 myself. How about you, Ellis?
Let's see. Well, I'm actually in 5 leagues. So
okay, just give us like...
All right. 2 of them, yeah, the 2 leagues that I pay in, I went 2-0.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won in both of mine, so I was quite happy about that.
All right, now obviously a big injury occurred last week. Jamal Charles for the Chiefs, one of the top 5 running backs that were to be drafted. Now he's done for the year. Who out there, if you had him, and I know a lot of people did, should you consider that could be out there that could be a decent replacement to hopefully get you through the year?
Well, there's still a few people that are out there right now. And taking a look at who's available in about 70% of the leagues that are out there, you have Darren Sproles that is sort of sitting out there right now. And Darren Sproles would probably give you a hand on that. Another person to take a look at would be Ben Tate. If you haven't picked up Ben Tate yet, you need to pick him. You need to pick him up. I really think he's going to be the next real deal.
Now I have Darren Sproles in I think both of my leagues actually. I drafted him really late. He's been scoring every week. Do you think it's time that maybe I consider actually starting him?
Actually, you said it right there. He's been scoring every week. The main rule of thumb in fantasy football is the old Janet Jackson song, "What have you done for me lately?" If he's been scoring and he's been consistent, you need to be playing.
Yeah, I think, see, here's my dilemma. I had Robert Beacham. I was in my flex position. I think I'm going to swap him out with Sproles because it looks like the majority of the passes now that, what's his name, is out.
Drew Brees. Oh, Colston.
Colston is out. They're going to go to the other wide receiver.
Henderson?
Henderson.
Yeah, Avery Henderson. Yeah, Avery Henderson. Once again, I picked him up off the waiver wire last week, and he was just sort of sitting right out there. He's surprising a lot of people. The guy, for being an old-timer, is surprisingly very quick. And if you have Henderson, you definitely should be playing Henderson.
Talking to Greg from 360 Sports, I have a question. Miles Austin is in one of my leagues, and obviously he's going to be out this week and maybe for the upcoming future. I picked up Eric Decker of the Denver Broncos. He had 2 touchdown catches last week, and he looked pretty good. Was that a good pickup, or do you think of somebody else wide receiver-wise?
Actually, Eric Decker is an excellent pickup. Right now, the way Kyle Orton is out there at this particular time frame, he's starting to develop a nice rapport, a nice chemistry with Decker. So yeah, Decker is a very solid pickup. And what I would do is I would monitor closely. You know, this guy would make a nice wide receiver 3 type guy. So if he's scoring you points and they're going to him, you want to take a look at the total number of looks that this guy gets. If he gets a lot of looks, this guy is going to be, somebody you definitely want to play. I try to look at trends as to, how many passes this guy gets. And then, of course, the yards after the catch. And, of course, Eric Decker did a great job. Another really good guy out there who I'm really high on right now is Demarius Moore out of Oakland. And I know he's sitting out there in quite a few leagues.
Yeah, he's out there in mine.
What makes him so attractive to you?
Jason Campbell, once again, has been going to Demarius Moore quite a bit. Demarius Moore has gotten into the end zone a couple times. He's the go-to man in Oakland right now.
Now, is there any players out there that you think you should avoid, who might sound good, like Braylon Edwards or somebody like that? I know both of my leagues, people dropped him. Are there names out there that you might be familiar with, but at any position you might want to avoid?
Well, one of the things that I try to do is I try to pick up players that are on winning teams. Teams that score points. You take a look at what Kansas City has done. In the past 2 weeks, Kansas City has only scored 10 points. I would stay away from anybody on Kansas City's squad. Thomas Jones is out there, yeah, okay, but right now, Matt Castle hasn't even had a touchdown yet. So with that said, I'd stay away from anybody from Kansas City right now. I'd also stay away from some of the receivers down in Jacksonville at this time frame because you have a rookie quarterback in Blaine Gabbert. We just don't quite know what's out there. And in fantasy football, you want to stay with who's hot. You want to stay with those people that are actually making moves.
Hey Greg, going to the tight end position, one player I really caught my eye was Fred Davis of the Washington Redskins, and he's had a great 2 weeks. Do you think he can keep it up for the rest of the season?
Yeah, you know, that's an excellent play there with Fred Davis. Rex Grossman has found an outlet. He's one of the tight ends that I have actually circled as somebody to keep an eye on. I'll tell you a couple other really good tight ends that are out there. Dustin Keller. Dustin Keller's been targeted by Sanchez quite a bit. And he's going to hit pay dirt here a few times. Tony Gonzalez. If Tony Gonzalez is still available, this guy, remember, 3 years ago, was one of the top premier tight ends. He had a lousy year last year. Everybody just goes, well, okay, he's getting old, he's falling off the band, he's falling off the wagon a little bit. But, you know, Tony Gonzalez, in that last game that he played, showed glimpses of where he was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And with Matt Ryan out there starting to target Gonzalez, that's somebody to take a look at. Also, Scott Chandler from Buffalo, 3 touchdowns within the past 2 weeks. This guy, with the Buffalo scoring machine right now, you know, you take a look at Buffalo, you take a look at the Detroit Lions. Tony Shuffler's another guy you want to take a look at as well because he's starting to get, you know those looks as well.
Talking to Greg at 360 Sports Network. Let's go to quarterbacks because in one of my leagues I'm in a little bit of a quandary because I have both Eli Manning and Jay Cutler, and that may not be the strongest. I waited a little bit before I drafted my quarterbacks this time around. So would I be fine with those guys for the rest of the year, or should I look into maybe a trade?
No, actually, I would. I think you're going to be all right. Now, it all depends on what your focus is on. If you're very strong at running back and you have some good receivers, I'd keep the quarterback duo that you have there right now. I have Eli Manning in my league. I've won championships with Eli Manning. Eli Manning is not the sexiest guy in the world as far as fantasy football points go, but in one of his worst games that he threw last week, I don't think he threw the game, but no, in one of the worst games that he played, he scored 19 points. Now, if I've got this formula set up, if your quarterback can get you consistently between 15 to 20 points per game, okay, as long as your running backs bring you 20 to 25 points per game, you're going to be fine. Eli Manning's a good top-tier, second-tier type quarterback. Okay, he's not a first-tier quarterback by any means. So the other one was Cutler?
Yeah, well, see, on my team, I have both McFadden and Michael Terms as my running backs, and I have Andre Johnson and Miles Austin as my wide receivers. That's why I waited so long to get the quarterback, is because I have such strong running backs and wide receivers. Right. And yeah, Cutler's my other quarterback.
Yeah, and you're okay with Cutler. He's okay. I think if Jason Campbell's available, I'd go with Jason Campbell. Kyle Orton, if he's available, I'd go with Kyle Orton over Cutler. I just never liked Cutler by any means. Cutler is just too inconsistent, and it kind of goes back to Mike Martz's philosophy. They call Mike Martz the mad scientist out there, and he's constantly mixing things up, and Cutler is just not consistent enough for me. So I would actually look at possibly maybe dropping Cutler, maybe picking up maybe a Jason Campbell, who's starting to develop a real chemistry, as I said earlier, with Denario Moore. Even Rex Grossman might be somebody to take a look at because he's starting to become more and more consistent as well. You want consistency at the quarterback position.
Right.
Somebody that can get you 15 to 20 points consistently, even on their worst days.
All right, we're talking to Greg from 360sportsnetwork.com, their website, 360sportsnetwork.blogspot.com if you want to visit it. Tons of fantasy information. Just they rate the players. It's great. One more question before we let you go, Greg, is here's what I do, and some people like this strategy, others they don't. I personally like to use it. I basically never draft a defense in the draft if I can get it, because my thing is I'm in 2 leagues. Neither league has over 10 players, so I would rather draft as many positions as I can, and then my thinking is you're more than likely going to get a top 15 defense just to pick one up. And what I do is almost like, to use a phrase that Rob Ryan in Cleveland like to use, is a UFO defense, where I will try to just pick up the best available defense and find the best matchup.
Yeah.
So like last week, I picked up Washington's. They got me a decent amount of points. And if there's any defenses out there, do you think maybe this week who probably aren't picked up that might be a good pickup to use for a week?
Well, you see, and once again, going back to the matchups, if San Diego's defense has been picked up, they're playing Kansas City. That should be a nice walk in the park for San Diego, especially coming off the loss off of New England. Another decent defense to pick up, I'm thinking Arizona. If Arizona's defense hasn't been picked up, they're going against Seattle. Once again, that's a decent matchup there where Arizona, I think, should be able to handle the anemic Seattle Seahawks at this particular time frame. I'd stay away from Indy's defense, of course. Trying to think of another.
How about Detroit?
Right now.
If Detroit's is available,
defense would actually do a very good job.
That wouldn't be bad. They are playing Miami, but I was curious about Detroit. At Minnesota.
Yeah.
Detroit's defense is very strong, and the Minnesota. I would pick up Detroit. If Detroit's available, I'd pick them up.
I'm actually doing it right now.
This is a team that's scoring points, and they're going to be a powerhouse this year. The Detroit Lions, as I always say, rebuilding since 1957.
They've done it. They've built.
They're doing it. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Greg. If you want any information you want to give out about your website and what you do, go ahead right now before we go to break.
Sure. The easiest way to get to us is just Google 360 Sports Network, and you'll see us pop up there. We're constantly in the top there on relevancy for 360 Sports Network. We're 3S Network on Twitter. And one of the things that's unique about us is we like to get feedback from you. So you can post your comments, and this is a great place to post your comments, express your frustrations, ask us questions. This thing is a full 360. We like to hear from you just as much as we like to talk to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Greg. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
It sounds good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right,
There you go, Greg from 360 Sports Network. They call in every Thursday at this time to give us some fantasy advice. Thursday's the day you pretty much want to get your things in order.
Yeah, because after the whole waiver wire thing ends, then you can pretty much pick up your guys without wasting a waiver wire spot. So yeah, it's real time. You literally did just pick up Detroit's defense.
I did, and I picked up the receiver from Oakland too.
Oh, Denarius Moore?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, I know their matchup is against the Jets. That doesn't mean I got to start him this week.
Right.
But he'll be on the bench and ready to go, because if Austin's going to be out, you never know.
And plus, bye weeks come along, so you'll need him. You need him once the bye weeks start anyway.
Exactly right.